Hey, Mappers. John Granato and Lance Zierlein from ESPN 97.5 The Bench Mornings. Glad you could join us here. Let's talk a little Deshaun Watson. He was on with Michael Vick on Fox Sports, and he had some interesting comments on his situation here versus Pat Mahomes' situation in Kansas City.
My situation, and I don't want to say nothing too crazy, it's just kind of, it's a little different than his. So, just signing a deal for, 10 years, I got to, speak on my agent with that. We got to really sit down and think, like, what do I want in my career, in my, football career, where I want to be for a long period of time. I love Houston. I love the organization. I love the teammates. I love the players, but all that stuff is always changing.
Very interesting, Lance. Do you think he is pining for a long-term contract here? He's just working Bill O'Brien, or do you think he really doesn't want to be here long-term? Which is it?
No, I think he's a short-term deal, and what I think he's seeing is that if he takes a short-term deal, he gets to the market sooner. That's basic economics from the standpoint of where agents now look at contracts. It used to be they wanted the longest deal possible with guaranteed money. Now they start to understand the value of shorter-term contracts. As fewer and fewer quarterbacks are injured, it's just more money every time they hit the market. However, I think the bigger thing at play here is when you listen to what Deshaun said, there is no real mention of this, kinship with the organization. He loves the city and all that, but there's no kinship, I don't think, with the head coach. Not one that would keep him here committed to this organization. And I think when you listen to his words, you hear a quarterback who's not sure that the Texans are building a championship caliber team for the future, or who understand how to do that. So when I heard those words, I was very concerned about the long-term viability of Deshaun Watson as a Texan.
Well, he did say, or I do love the organization. He didn't say anything about Bill O'Brien, though.
Right.
But I think he's got the playbook from Laramie Tunsil. I don't I don't think I want to be here. I'm not sure about a long-term contract. I'm not. You know what? We'll see what happens in the future. I think he's just working Bill O'Brien.
But what did Laramie get? He got a 3-year deal. That's what I think he's going to get.
He got a 3-year deal, but Pat Mahomes got a 10-year deal,
right.
12-year deal, and he got a $500 million. Well, Deshaun's like, I don't want any of that stuff. Guess what? I'm going to get $600 million. It could well be that he's just saying all of this stuff because he knows that the Texans would love to have him here long term, and so he is playing the game of saying, nope, I don't want to be here long term, therefore give me more money. It could well be, and then it could well be what you said as well. It is interesting that he is vocal more now. I don't know if that's a product of him being in the league more now, but after the George Floyd stuff and with Cal, and Cal better speak up, and him talking about kneeling and everything else that's going on, and now putting this out there, maybe it's a product of him being in the league. Maybe it's a product of him taking on more of a leadership role or an activist role or whatever the case may be. But we are seeing Deshaun come out of his shell a little bit here.
Well, I'd go before then. I'd go to the quarantine when we were, kind of quarantined, and before you know it, his quarterback his top wide receiver was being dealt. Deshaun's been making subtle comments on Twitter through rap lyrics well before the George Floyd situation happened. So this has been something, to your point, that has been going on for a little bit now, where he's been making comments. I think he looks at this as, look, I can get a 3-year deal for $120 million, and when that's up, I can make my choice about whether or not I want to stay with the Texans or whether I want to go somewhere else long term. It's easy for Pat Mahomes to lock into a long-term deal because things are great over there. Here, they're a little more unsteady. And so I don't expect Deshaun Watson to look for anything more than a 3-year deal. I think he can get all the money in the world, but let's remember this. Deshaun is also a product of Clemson and Dabo. He competed for national championships. I think winning a Super Bowl title is a really big thing for Deshaun Watson. And if he doesn't believe that's attainable here with the way things are set up in Houston, I could see him not being in full commitment to this team.
No, I could see that as well. And I don't know, he doesn't mention Bill O'Brien. He really doesn't.
Nope.
So and you can't you can't think that he's blind to all of these moves and that Bill O'Brien and the stuff that Bill O'Brien has done. You're probably right. But if I was him and I wanted a long-term deal, this is the way I would go about it as well. Tell him I don't want it, and then Bill O'Brien will come up with it, and he'll come up with it big, because that's what Bill O'Brien does.